Toastmasters, welcome guests. For your enjoyment, the dead man's liver. Tommy Smith was just about to go out and play when his mother stopped him. She'd heard from her husband. Things had been stressful at work for Tommy's father, so he'd had an idea. Why not invite his boss over for dinner? He'd even managed to find out his boss's favorite meal, liver and onions. Tommy's mother immediately began preparing her home for the evening, but there was a problem. She had no liver to cook. And looking around her home, she realized that it needed cleaning before anyone came over. But how could she clean and go to the market, she thought. Then it occurred to her, Tommy could go to the market for her. He could get the liver. He was almost out the front door when she stopped him. She gave him some money and explained that Tommy's father's boss was coming over for dinner and that it was very important that the meal go well. Tommy's heart sank as he thought of the afternoon baseball game with his friends that he'd be missing. He hopped on his bike and headed off to market. He was halfway there when he came to the field where his friends were playing. He thought for a moment, I bet I have time to play one inning. How long can it take to make liver anyway? He stopped at the field, and his friends were thrilled to see him. Tommy explained that he could only play one inning. His friends immediately put him in as pitcher. When the inning was over, Tommy quickly said goodbye and headed off to market. When he reached the market, he found an unwelcome surprise. The parking lot was virtually empty. And then he saw something even worse. There was a sign on the door. He got off his bike and read the sign. Closed at 6 o'clock for fumigation. He looked at his watch. 6:10. He missed getting in the market by 10 minutes. He could feel tears welling in his eyes. This was the only market in town. He got on his bike slowly. He imagined the look on his mother's face when he arrived home without any liver. He knew what his father's reaction would be after his boss had left. He trembled as he pedaled home. 2 miles later, when he was almost home, he suddenly stopped. To his left was the town cemetery. He pulled a pocket knife out of his back pocket, and he started to think dark thoughts, unlike any he'd ever had. Just 5 days earlier, his great uncle had passed away. This was the cemetery where he was born, where he was buried, rather. What if, Tommy thought, I got his liver? Who would know? Before he could talk himself out of it, he ran to the gravedigger's shed, grabbed the shovel, and ran to his great uncle's grave. He started digging and digging, and in no time, he reached the coffin. He opened it, making sure not to look at his great uncle's face. Then he ripped open the shirt that his great uncle had been buried in, and he paused for a moment, wondering if he should stop. But just like that, the moment passed, and he convinced himself that this wasn't his uncle. This was just flesh and bones, just organs. 10 minutes later, He was on his bike, headed home. The dead man's liver wrapped in his jacket. By the time he got home, he knew his father and his boss would be there soon. Tommy could see his mother busy in the living room, so he snuck in the door on the side of the house. He went to the kitchen, got a plate, and put the liver on it. Quietly, he avoided the living room, went to the staircase, and when he reached the top, he yelled, "The liver's in the kitchen, Mom! I'm going to take a shower before dinner." The dinner was a big success. Tommy's father's boss had not one, not two, but 3 servings of the liver. Tommy's mother couldn't understand why Tommy didn't want any liver, but she agreed that he didn't have to have any so long as he had salad, which he did. It was nearly midnight when Tommy turned the lights off to his room and crawled into bed, exhausted. His eyes felt heavy. He could tell that sleep was just moments away when he heard something. He sat up in his bed, unsure what he just heard. Then he heard something that he recognized. The creaky step at the bottom of the staircase. Somebody was coming up the stairs. He heard the voice again, closer this time. "Where's my liver?" You could hear footsteps slowly coming up the stairs. "Where's my liver?" Tommy couldn't breathe. He heard the knob on the door to his room turning, and the door opening slowly. He could see the shape in the doorway, the silhouette. Even in the dark, Tommy could tell it was his great uncle. "Tommy, where's my liver?" Tommy's mind snapped. He blurted out, "We ate it! We ate your liver!" His great uncle moved closer and said, "I know you did." His hands reached out. The next morning, Tommy's mother was surprised that she didn't hear him getting ready for school. She went to his room, found the door closed, so she knocked. "Tommy?" She opened the door, and there lay her son with the blanket up to his neck. His face was pale, and she couldn't hear him breathing. She moved closer. Something didn't look quite right about the blanket. So she started pulling it down slowly. She screamed in terror at what she saw. There on the bed was her son, with a gaping hole in his side. Mr. Toastmaster.